Welcome back to Bayview. Last episode was huge. We installed nitrous, conquered our first U.R.L. race, extended the winning streak, and earned ourselves a brand new reward. And today, it's finally time to collect it. What started as a humble little Corolla is slowly transforming into a proper street racing machine. Every race, every upgrade, and every victory is pushing this build one step closer to something special. The best part? We're still nowhere near finished. Right now, we're heading to the shop to claim the reward we fought for last episode. And after that, the road to 100% completion continues. More races, more upgrades, more rivals, and hopefully, a lot fewer crashes. Bayview isn't getting any easier, but neither are we. Let's get this episode started.
Hey, have a good look around and let the beauty sink in. Pick out a new ride right here.
Well, here's our reward from the U.R.L. race. A Lincoln Navigator. I can't complain. It was free. And in racing games, free is always a good price. That being said, this thing is enormous. After spending the last few episodes throwing a lightweight Corolla through corners, driving a full-size SUV feels like I've suddenly been promoted to captain of a cruise ship. Still, it's a nice addition to the garage, and proof that all those races are starting to pay off. For now, though, this Navigator is getting parked. The real hero of this series is still the Corolla. That's the car we've built from the ground up, and that's the car we're taking back onto the streets of Bayview. So let's drop this beast off at the garage, jump back into our trusty Toyota, and get back to what we do best: winning races and occasionally introducing ourselves to traffic. All right, the Navigator is parked, and we're back in the Corolla, where the real action happens. Today's first event is a circuit race, the bread and butter of Underground 2. These races might look simple, but they're where you earn a lot of your money, reputation, and progression throughout the career. The car's upgraded, the nitrous is ready, and we're carrying plenty of momentum from the last episode. Let's kick off episode 4 with another win. Not exactly the start I was hoping for. The rest of the field got away pretty quickly, and for the moment, we're playing catch-up. That's okay. Races aren't won in the first corner, and we've got plenty of laps left to work with. The Corolla has the upgrades, we've got nitrous on board, and most importantly, we've come back from worse positions before. Time to stop admiring everyone's rear bumpers and start moving up the leaderboard.
And just like that, we're up into first place. That didn't take long. The Corolla is really showing the difference those upgrades have made. A few corners ago, we were stuck behind traffic, and now everyone's looking at our taillights. Fun fact, one of the best strategies in Underground 2 is patience. A lot of races are won by staying smooth and waiting for the right opportunity to overtake, instead of forcing risky moves. Now that we've got the lead, the goal is simple. Stay consistent, keep the pressure on, and don't do anything silly.
1 lap down, 1 to go, we're still leading. Considering how this race started, I'll definitely take that. It's actually pretty satisfying to see how far the Corolla has come. Early in the series, every overtake felt like a struggle. Now the car feels quicker, more responsive, and much more capable of fighting its way through the field. Here's a cool fact. Underground 2 was one of the first racing games to make progression feel like a true journey. Instead of handing players powerful cars right away, the game encouraged you to build your machine piece by piece, making every upgrade feel meaningful. And honestly, that's exactly what's happening with our Corolla. Every race win is helping transform this little starter car into something much more serious. Now let's stay focused, keep the mistakes to a minimum, and finish this race the way we intend to finish every race, in first place.
Reps from the Sport Compact car are on location tonight, and they have a hot model for the winner's hood. Incentive enough?
Another race, another win. The comeback from the start made that one even more satisfying. Now it's time for a Street X event, where speed takes a backseat to precision. Tight corners, narrow tracks, and very little room for mistakes. Let's see if the Corolla can keep the winning streak alive.
Alright, this isn't your average Street X race. The track is definitely bigger than the ones we've tackled before, which means there's a lot more room to gain time and a lot more room to make mistakes. Street X has always been one of the most technical modes in Underground 2. It's not about having the most horsepower, it's about carrying speed through corners, choosing the right line, and staying smooth from start to finish. Fun fact, many Underground 2 players considered Street X one of the toughest race types in the game because the tight layouts leave very little margin for error. One bad corner can undo an entire lap of good driving. So let's stay sharp, trust the Corolla, and see if we can conquer one of the longer Street X tracks Bayview has to offer. Another Street X victory in the books! The Corolla handled that longer track beautifully. Now it's time for another U.R.L. race. The competition is about to get tougher, but so are we. Let's get over there and keep this winning streak rolling!
Welcome back to the Underground Racing League, where the races are longer, the competition is tougher, and my chances of accidentally introducing the Corolla to a wall somehow remained exactly the same. You know, it's funny to think about how this whole journey started. Before we ever bought the Corolla, before the sponsors, before the nitrous, the story of Underground 2 kicked off with our Nissan Skyline getting attacked and sabotaged shortly after arriving in Bayview. Talk about a rough welcome. Most people get a tour of the city. We got our car turned into a very expensive pile of problems. And here's another cool fact. Underground 2 was the first Need for Speed game to introduce SUVs into the franchise. Vehicles like the Hummer H2 and Lincoln Navigator suddenly gave players the option to race something that looked like it should be towing a boat instead of competing in street races. In fact, we literally have a Navigator sitting in our garage right now. Although after driving the Corolla for so long, getting back into that thing feels less like racing and more like commanding a small apartment building. As for this race, the Corolla is feeling fantastic. The upgrades are working, the nitrous is ready, and we're starting to look like a genuine threat in Bayview. Let's settle in, hit our marks, and see if we can add another U.R.L. victory to the collection. Two laps down, and we're still leading the way. The Corolla is looking incredibly strong right now, and the gap behind us is starting to grow. We've still got work to do, but if we keep driving like this, another U.R.L. victory could be heading straight to our garage. Yes! That's the win! Let's celebrate this one in style! E-brake turn, 360 spin. Wait, why is the race not ending? Hold on. That was only lap 3? There's another lap? I just celebrated an entire lap early! Somehow we're still in first place, which is honestly the luckiest thing that's happened all race. Alright, everybody forget what you just saw. The victory celebration has been postponed until further notice. Let's actually finish the race this time. Well, this time the race is actually over. After celebrating a full lap early, doing an unnecessary 360, and nearly giving the entire U.R.L. field a free comeback, we somehow still managed to win. I'm gonna call that confidence. Excessive confidence, but confidence nonetheless. Now we're heading toward another circuit race. Hopefully this one goes a little more smoothly. And hopefully I remember how many laps there are before I start celebrating again. Hold on a second. Haven't we been here before? I'm pretty sure this is the exact same circuit track we raced at the end of episode 3. Either Bayview is running out of roads, or the race organizers looked at their schedule and thought, you know what, let's do that one again. Not that I'm complaining. We won here last time, so hopefully the track remembers us fondly. Although knowing my driving, the track probably remembers that accidental U.R.L. celebration more than the victory itself. Well, if we're getting a case of racing deja vu, we might as well make the most of it. Let's see if we can repeat the result. And there's lap 1 in the books. 1 lap down, 1 to go, and we're still sitting comfortably in first place. I guess there might be an advantage to racing on a track you've already seen before. The corners are familiar, the braking points are familiar, and thankfully this time I actually know how many laps the race has. The Corolla's feeling great, I've got the lead, and all that's left now is 1 clean lap to turn this deja vu into another victory. Another race, another victory. At this point, the Corolla's starting to make this look a little too easy. But now we're switching things up with a sprint race. No laps, no second chances, and no crossing the same finish line twice. Just 1 route, 1 destination, and a lot of opportunities for me to accidentally meet oncoming traffic. The good news is that the car is in great shape, the nitrous is ready, and the momentum is definitely on our side. Let's see if we can keep this winning streak alive all the way to the finish line. All right, sprint race time. 1 road, 1 finish line, and hopefully 0 surprise meetings with traffic. You know, Underground 2 was wild. While other racing games were busy letting you paint your car a different color, this game lets you turn the trunk into a full-blown concert hall. You could install speakers, amplifiers, subwoofers, basically enough audio equipment to shake every window in Bayview. Imagine pulling up next to a rival and instead of revving your engine, your car just starts hosting a music festival. And then there were hydraulics. Yes, hydraulics! Because apparently racing wasn't enough, Underground 2 let your car bounce around like it was auditioning for a dance competition. Some players even used them to help with race launches. Meanwhile, here I am spending all my money on performance parts because my driving style usually involves discovering new and exciting ways to hit things. Anyway, enough talking. We've got a sprint race to win, a reputation to protect, and an entire city to remind that the Corolla is somehow still unstoppable!
Okay, what exactly did we put into this Corolla? A few episodes ago, this thing was a humble starter car. Now, every time I touch the accelerator, it launches forward like it's trying to leave Bayview and enter the next game. I swear the speedometer is climbing faster than my confidence right now. At this rate, the finish line isn't the destination, it's a suggestion. The Corolla has officially gone from grocery getter to ground-to-ground missile. And honestly, I'm just trying to keep up with it. Another race, another win, and now, instead of racing, we're heading to a magazine photo shoot. Not bad for a Corolla that started life as a humble starter car. Let's see if this thing is as photogenic as it is fast. Wait, 2 minutes? So let me get this straight. We've won races, survived traffic, earned sponsors, and built this Corolla from the ground up? And now our biggest challenge is making it to a photo shoot on time? The photographer says he's leaving in 2 minutes. Buddy, have you seen Bayview traffic? All right, no pressure. We don't need to win a race. We just need to cross half the city before this guy packs up his camera and disappears into the night. Can we make it in time? Honestly, absolutely no idea. But we're about to find out.
Nice, you just scored the cover of Turbo. Hey, you're gonna like this. Get your ride into the zone and move it around while changing the angle of the camera. When you're happy with the setup, press the camera button and take the shot. What you snap will show on the cover of the next mag. Now get at it. You don't have all night.
Well, we made it. The photographer got his pictures, the Corolla got its moment in the spotlight, and somehow we arrived without turning the photo shoot into a crash scene. Not bad for a car that started this journey as Bayview's most ordinary Corolla. And it looks like our 15 minutes of fame aren't over yet, because another special event has just popped up on the map. At this rate, the Corolla is spending almost as much time in front of cameras as it is on the racetrack. Let's head over there and see what Bayview has planned for its newest automotive celebrity.
Wait a minute. Another photo shoot? The Corolla just finished posing for one magazine, and now we've already got another invitation. At this rate, we're not building a race car anymore. We're managing a celebrity schedule. All right, let's head over there before this photographer decides to leave too. Apparently in Bayview, even the magazine shoots are timed events.
And that's where we're gonna wrap up episode 4. Today was another huge step forward for the Corolla. We claimed our reward vehicle, jumped back into our trusty Toyota, picked up more race wins, conquered another U.R.L. event, survived a serious case of racing deja vu, and somehow made it to 2 magazine photo shoots before the photographers gave up and went home. Not bad for a car that started this journey as a simple starter vehicle. The Corolla is getting faster, Bayview is opening up, and the road to 100% completion is becoming more exciting with every episode. But trust me, we're only getting started. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Nebula Core Gaming, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next part of the journey. And let me know in the comments, would you have chosen the Lincoln Navigator as your reward vehicle, or would you have picked something else? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in episode 5. Until then, keep your nitrous full, your corners clean, and your celebrations on the final lap, not one lap early.